everyone, welcome back to my channel, Diamonds and Washi. My name is Katie, and today I am here with my weekly WIP and Chat. If you are new or you're just not sure what that means, WIP stands for work in progress, in this case, diamond painting. And chat just means that we're going to chat and catch up a little bit today, so feel free to pull out a project to work alongside me, whether that is also a diamond painting, some other crafting project, getting things done around the house, whatever works. I'm just genuinely looking forward to spending some time with you today, like I do well, you know what? It's not Monday morning. This video is going to be going up on a Wednesday. I was out of town for the long weekend. I didn't have the chance to film this sooner, and I'll share all about that and what a wonderful weekend it was here in a little bit. But typically my weekly WIP and Chats, they do go up on Mondays, and I'll film them on Sunday nights, but it's currently Tuesday night. I am sitting down to catch up on the past week or so with you, and hope that you're still looking forward to spending some time with me today, even if it's a different day than usual. But yes, normally Monday mornings, that's when you want to watch for these weekly WIP and Chats, and I do have a playlist if you are interested in watching some of my past WIP and Chats. They go back over 4 years at this point, so I don't know how many hundreds of videos are on that playlist, but feel free to yawn like me, excuse me, and watch through those if you like. But for, I think, possibly the third week in a row, I'm going to be kitting up a diamond painting with you in my WIP and Chat. It's just the way that it's worked out. I did not finish the project that I kitted up last week. No, I did not finish that already. In fact, I only just really started on it yesterday. But I am going to have just 2 WIPs going for a bit because, look, I am living in this era of work on what you love. There's just no good reason not to. Life's too short. So I was just so really enamored and struck by Dark Lilith when I unboxed this for a sneak peek last week. And I sat on it while I was out of town and then thought, you know what, I really want to work on it. I really want to work on this kit. So you know what, gosh darn it, I am going to kit it up. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to have 2 WIPs going, and yeah, I'm going to do what I love. So a lot of you did encourage me in the sneak peek last week to go ahead and do that, because I asked you guys flat out. I was like, should I work on this right away? Should I, sorry, I'm yawning again. I'm apparently very tired. Or should I wait, savor it a little bit, just leave it in my rainy day stash? But I don't want to put all of the kits that I love in my rainy day stash. So it's not what 2025 is about for me. So I'm so happy. I'm going to be getting this kit up. I can't wait. I really can't wait. So, I already pulled out the treasure quest card, and that's elsewhere for the sneak peek unboxing. That's in a different pile. But here are the stickers for this one. There's the original artwork. Just ridiculously amazing. I love it. And then, so 62 colors. I'm hoping, because I have a lot of Elizabeth Ward containers that are not the largest size, but the second largest size container. Those are almost all in use right now with other projects, including ones that I still need to kit down. So I'm just hoping that because this is a small kit but has so many colors, I'm going to be able to make it work with mostly these smaller containers. So we shall see. Let's open this up. By the way, anyone that got this particular kit, have you noticed, because I saw someone else did notice this as well, and I mentioned as much in the sneak peek video, but do you notice the back of this canvas seems even softer than Diamond Art Club's usual canvases? It reminds me of their canvases from 2020, 2021. It's super soft. And so I'm wondering if that's going to be a thing that's going forward, or if it's just kind of a one-off for whatever reason with these. But anyway, there's the canvas. I will link to the unboxing below if you are interested. It's so much smaller than I might have expected. I had intended to go in and open up my gem slow and remind myself of how big the first version of this kit I did was, but I forgot to do that. I'm sorry about that. But I did complete Dark Lilith when it was licensed with DIY Moon Shop, aka Die Moon Shop. I did it in 2021 and loved the artwork so much. And so much so that, yeah, as these Margaret Morales pieces are rolling out at Diamond Art Club, kits that I've already completed, like this one from Diamond Shop, I am just going to go ahead and buy the Diamond Art Club versions as well. There's a lot that I really loved about the Diamond Shop rendering style of these pieces, but in some cases, I think that maybe Diamond Art Club is going to do a better job. In some cases, there may have been some like quality that maybe wasn't totally 100 about the Diamond Shop ones, like maybe some glue that I didn't necessarily love or something like that. Overall, it's just like, even though I may have done various kits already from Diamond Shop, or even ones that I own, if Diamond Art Club releases them, there's a pretty solid chance that I'm going to be buying them to enjoy all over again. So when I am kitting up, I do tend to put my diamonds just in DMC order. So right now I'm cutting these packets apart, and I'm going to kind of group them and organize them by DMC just a little bit, and then I'll go through and actually kit up these diamonds. So just going to be doing that for the next few moments. Yeah, there's a few colors that looks like there's a good amount of, and then a lot of smaller packs of diamonds too. So we'll see how this all goes. But anyway, hi, how are you doing today? I hope that you had a really nice weekend and that your week has been off to a wonderful start so far. I was in Las Vegas for the long weekend for my brother's wedding. Kind of, I don't know whether to call it an elopement or a destination wedding. It's like, it's kind of eloping because it's like they went to go and plan a more traditional wedding, and then we're like, this is just going to be way too much. Let's do Vegas instead. But they planned ahead enough that they were able to, they invited immediate family. I think they were allowed to have up to 10 people at the actual ceremony, just for sake of numbers. So it was very, very, very small, and it was so much fun. I'll tell you all about it, but I do want to chat a little bit about sort of diamond painting stuff up front, but just wanted to mention that that's where I was. That's why this video is a little bit later, and so you are going to hear my husband in the background with our puppy that we got a few weeks ago. He is 100% in the teething stages, the puppy, not my husband. And so we're working through that. And also, he tends to do this kind of like puppy witching hour where it's like in the evenings, like he's tired, but he's not quite ready to settle. And so he just will kind of make a little bit of trouble. So if you watched last week's WIP and Chat, you know that I kind of had to pause and restart the WIP and Chat a few times, and also you just heard some puppy noises in the background, like little squeakies. He's apparently gone for one of his toys, but yes. So that was my weekend, and I was really lucky that my sneak peek for this particular kit came in on time. I really wanted to be able to get to share that with you on time. It has been really nice that Diamond Art Club has had so many of these kits arriving at the warehouse on time to be able to send out, especially this past weekend's releases. I feel like this past weekend just had so many good kits, like a ton of heavy hitters, whether it's really popular artists or artwork that I just thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna sell out so fast, and it really did. It seemed like, how many kits sold out? 4 or 5 kits sold out on release day, and Dark Lilith I knew sold out really fast. Based on what Diamond Art Club said in the VIP group, because they did put out a little like note about it in there in kind of response to a lot of the people that were feeling upset about it. It sounds like really they're working to get restocks in as quickly as possible. And so I'm imagining Dark Lilith is 100% going to be restocked since it did sell out so quickly. So sign up for back in stock notifications, and I really hope you're able to snag it next time if you missed out. Yeah, I know it's super frustrating. It reminds me a little bit of back in, 2020 era. This was really what releases looked like every weekend. It was just crazy selling out in seconds kind of situations and stuff, just because inventory and the whole situation was very rough. So I'm really hoping that's not what we're heading back to, just with everything that's going on, but we're not gonna go down that path right at the moment. But yeah, so I hope you're able to snag what you wanted. I did end up buying the JoJo's Arts, was it Dragon Schloss kit? That was just so incredible, so epic. Loved that one too. And I also really did want I don't remember the name of the artist, but it looked like Howl's Moving Castle inspired fan art. That also was beautiful, but also looked like it was a really huge piece. I need to rewatch that movie. I've only seen it one time, and I don't know about you, but if I've only seen a movie one time, there's a lot that I tend to not. There's a lot of details that I tend to not remember. I feel like I need to see something more than once in order to really absorb, sort of, especially like, well, the nuances and remember all the details and stuff. But I have a really, really, really bad memory, so that might be more just a me thing. But I've been meaning to rewatch that one, and just any Studio Ghibli, films are worth rewatching. We're slowly introducing our oldest to some of those movies. I think he's only seen the one, but there's I don't know. I think he might enjoy Howl's Moving Castle, or maybe even like Kiki's Delivery Service or something. But by the way, in case, I always want to mention this because I find this trick to be so incredibly helpful, and that is if you are running into static with your diamonds, which is highly weather dependent, but resin diamonds like Diamond Art Club and a lot of other high quality companies use do tend to be pretty static prone by nature because of what they're made of. And so static is super frustrating. I would highly recommend pouring the diamonds into an open dryer sheet. This is a trick that I first saw from Library of Diamonds, Lena. So love that trick. It does help a ton. So give that a try if you're finding yourself really frustrated by static with your diamonds. So anyway, like I said, even though I did ask your opinions on my sneak peek of whether to work on this kit right away, I also did have pretty strongly in the back of my head that kind of no matter how people respond, I think I do want to go ahead and kit this up, just because I do love the artwork so much. And I'm curious if there's ever been a piece or a kit, a diamond painting that you've either loved the artwork or loved the diamond painting itself so much that you've considered either buying it a second time or working on it a second time, or if that's just not really how you operate. I have never worked on bought a kit for a second time and then worked on it again. I've done comparison projects, like I did 2 different versions of Mermaid's Bath from Jada Gem Shop, but that was because they were 2 different renders, and I wanted to compare those. I did 2 different versions of Twilight Vibes from Diamond Art Club, back when they were trialing releasing kits with both round and square drills, like giving you the option between the 2. And so, but that, that again was for a very specific project I worked on, going way back to the start of my channel. I did work on the artwork Spirit of Flight from Diamond Art Club when they had Josephine Wall, as well as the version from Diamond Painting Deutschland, because I wanted to compare their rendering styles, and that was such a fun project. But, just purely looking at, just a kit that I've worked on and I've thought about just rebuying, that doesn't, more arbitrarily, I guess I haven't really done that before, but I've considered it. And I have 1 or 2 in my stash that are, that, but I don't think I'm going to be too bored working on this one, because it has been, 3.5, almost 4 years since I did work on the Diamond Shop version. And I don't know, I'm hoping that it'll just be a really enjoyable experience, that nothing about it is going to be boring. I don't know, it's been so long, it's not like I remember specifics about working on it. I do remember that the DIY Moonshop version that I did, I'd gotten it with, they called it special treatments. Man, I'm really throwing it back because they've been closed for a while. So this special treatment pack that DIY Moonshop had was an optional add-on that you could get for their kits, and it was special drills, and they would give you suggestions for where to swap them in. And I remembered it cost more money, and so I didn't do it every time, but I would do it sometimes. And I remember doing it for Dark Lilith, and at the time I was more, I don't know, I liked the novelty of swapping in some special drills. I thought it was kind of fun. Now I'm a lot lazier, and I don't feel like it's something I'm very good at anyway. So I like that, in this case from Diamond Art Club, all the special drills are already charted for me. I'm especially excited because this will be the first kit I'm working on that has the frosted diamonds in it. It has nearly every single type of special drill that Diamond Art Club offers right now. The only exception is it doesn't have any glow-in-the-dark diamonds, which don't really count to me, honestly, because they otherwise look normal on the canvas. And it doesn't have any like special shaped diamonds. Like just a really small handful of Diamond Art Club kits will come out that'll have like quad cubes or like almond shaped diamonds or something like that, or teardrops, but those are pretty few and far between. So I don't, these are more kind of their standard special diamonds. So anyway, I'm excited to get to work with all these special drills. It'll be hopefully be fun. But yeah, excited to work on this one and maybe do a little comparison. I will have to dig out Dark Lilith. I have my completed diamond paintings stored in a few different places, and so I will have to see exactly where my like 2021 completed kits are. They're somewhere. I know that they're somewhere. Someday I will get everything like really, really organized and put together, but it's not this day. I don't know. We live in such a small space, and I feel like I've just had to basically squeeze diamond paintings and things into various little nooks and crannies, and it's not nearly as organized as I wish it were. It would work so much better for my brain if it were more well organized, but I don't know. It is what it is. We make it work, and we're thankful for the space that we have and everything. Yeah, good problem to have, I suppose. But it's interesting looking at doing a comparison between like two shops where one of the shops isn't even open anymore. I've run into this when I've thought about doing like another comparison project between like Josephine wall kits from Diamond Art Club and Diamond Painting Deutschland again, because I have a few in my diamond painting collection from when Josephine Wall was still licensed with Diamond Art Club, but she hasn't been licensed with them for a few years now, and so I don't know, it feels weird sometimes to think of like deliberately showing comparisons when it's like, well, it doesn't really matter because this one isn't even, the shop's not even open anymore in this particular case, but I don't know, it'll still be fun, and hopefully I don't know, I guess if you have it like in your diamond painting stash, or you're thinking about getting it from a D-stash, maybe that's helpful. But I'm also curious to see how it's held up over time. I think it's stored in a portfolio somewhere, so it should have been pretty protected, but even still, I do wonder how it's, if any of the diamonds will have shifted or fallen off or anything like that. So a little bit of nerves to pull that one back out, but I'll keep you guys posted for sure. In general, though, everything feels so volatile with shops, small shops especially right now. My heart is still just hurting, and I just feel sick for what some of these small shops are, the decisions they're having to try to make, and how hard things are for us as customers, and just how it all is, looking right now. And so I don't know, I'm just always hoping that things are going to get better sooner than later. It's I don't know, there's even some shops that it's like I have kits in mind to unbox from them, but it's like, oh, this is I have a kit, for example, from Diamond Artisan that I had, been holding on to unbox at some point, but they are currently having all of their US orders on pause for the moment, with the exception of, I think they mentioned on Instagram that they had some already in hand kits ready to ship that you could message them to order, but otherwise, they're not shipping to the US at all until things are hopefully at some point resolved. And so it's like, I don't know, I don't necessarily want to do that unboxing when it's like I can't even then hopefully point people, even though I bought the kit myself, I can of course do whatever I would like with it. I always, when I'm sharing unboxings from small shops, my hope is that that's going to be a shop that if you decide you like what you're seeing, you can go do some shopping from that shop, and you can't do that with a lot of these shops right now, which really, really, really sucks. So I don't know. It just feels it just sucks right now. So yeah, just fingers crossed, fingers always crossed. But anyway, let's talk about other things. I did make some progress on Talk to the Snakes, which I kitted up with you last week. I just started on it yesterday, and I've already gotten the first row done. It's got a good amount of color blocking, which is really nice and will actually probably be a nice kind of counterpart to this kit, because this kit, it really looked like from the rendering on the canvas that this is going to be a pretty confetti heavy kit. So it's going to be a little bit more of a, I don't know, it's going to probably go just a little bit slower. I have a feeling it's just going to be completely worth it. I'm so excited. I don't even think I'm going to be frustrated or bored with it, because I cannot wait to see this one come together. I love this artwork. But yeah, I've gotten the first row done on Talk to the Snakes, and it's coming along. It's got every shade of pink you can imagine in it, which you saw last week if you did watch that kitting up video. And I like the special drill placement in it a lot. I do really like it a lot. I think it's really beautifully done. I don't know, that's a kit I could see myself spreading out working on, like almost just doing like a row on it each month, like kind of throughout the year in honor of the Year of the Snake. Then again, I don't tend to love having unfinished projects for too long, so I don't know, I'm just gonna follow my nose with it. I'm just gonna kind of shift between projects as I feel like it. I ask this often in my WIP and Chats and other videos sometimes, but are you someone that enjoys working on one WIP at a time? Or do you love having multiple WIPs going? Or do you have multiple WIPs going, but you actually don't love that you have multiple WIPs going? Because all of those options are valid. Yeah, definitely tend to be like, ideally one. I really like having just one project going, but 2 to 3, like it depends. If I'm in the right mood like I am right now, 2 to 3 is fine. But more than that, like some of you with WIPs in the double digits, if you love it, I love it for you. It's not for me. I would be so stressed. But yeah. I did enjoy doing, speaking of WIPs and finishes, I did really enjoy doing my month in review video that went up this past weekend. Side note, who knew that hotel Wi-Fi would be like literally 10 times as fast as my at-home Wi-Fi? I need to tell Adam, like, we need to look at upgrading our Wi-Fi. Fiber is available by us, and at one point we were looking at having that set up and switching to that service, but then I don't remember exactly what happened, but kind of want to look into that again, because faster internet would be delightful, especially for like hypothetical live streams. Not that I do a lot of those, but you know, so I do sometimes. I do monthly live streams for the top tier of my Patreon and YouTube memberships, which that is, I try not to talk about it too much because I don't want it to ever feel like I'm overwhelming or trying to like be a salesperson. But if you're interested in getting some like behind the scenes bonus content, as well as additionally supporting my channel, which is always incredibly appreciated, I do have Patreon and YouTube memberships, and those will be linked below in the description box if you want to find out more. But no pressure, just the fact that you guys are watching my videos, I sincerely mean this, that means the world to me, and it still leaves my jaw on the floor. How many of you guys do tune in? So anyway, where was I going with that? Month in review. That video went up, so if you want to see the ridiculous number of finishes on paper that happened in April, that video is up. But it's mostly just because of all those little snack-sized Diamond Art Club Disney kits. That's really the only reason that number is so ridiculously high. But that video went up, and then I am looking ahead of it still with less than a month to go till Summer with the Masters kicks off. I did manage to get my hands on a John William Waterhouse kit. I picked one up from a D-stash, and from Distracted by Diamonds, it's The Soul of the Rose. And so I think that I'll work on it this year. Not 100% sure. I think I will. And that would be fun to kind of then keep up with my annual John William Waterhouse project and not sort of having to lose that due to not really, practically speaking, being able to order a custom right now. This is what happens when you procrastinate. It's completely 100% on me. But that did come in while I was out of town, and so I have that in hand, and I might try to just open it up and get a good look at it and have that help me decide if I do want to work on that one this year for Summer with the Masters. But if you want to find out more about Summer with the Masters, I will try to remember to link to the announcement video below. That'll have all the details, but really, really chill, super relaxed, and easy to jump in on if you want to diamond painting event or diamond paint along. just working on, classic artwork is how you might think of it. Van Gogh, Monet, John William Waterhouse, Gustav Klimt, a lot of just, you kind of think of it as the classics. It's artwork that's in the public domain, as in before the current copyright year. So that's kind of what we use as the guideline for that. But let me tell you a little bit about my weekend out of town, which was so much fun. So my brother and his fiance, now my sister-in-law, did get married in Vegas over the weekend at one of these just adorable little white chapels not too far off the Vegas Strip. And it was so much fun. It was very, very them. When they had shared that they had decided to do this Vegas wedding instead of a traditional wedding, I just thought, I'm not even surprised. It seems very, very them. And I'm so happy for them that they're just like, you know what, let's do this instead. And they made it such a fun weekend. They both kind of wore like really non-traditional wedding garb. My now sister-in-law's dress was this really beautiful pale pink, and she had this amazing pink veil and this beautiful headpiece. Hairpiece. It was very vintage, like super, super vintage, and just felt like it fit perfectly with the Vegas vibe. She had these incredible Betsy Johnson heels that she was like, I got these on a crazy sale for $30. And this is like a thing that we do, right? Is when you get something for a really, really good deal, like all you want to do is share about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And these shoes are great. So it was a few of her friends. Unfortunately, for a few different reasons, her family wasn't there, which really stinks, except for her brother, who was able to come in. It was really just like our family and some of her closest friends who were so, so, so sweet. And the gals all got together in her room in the morning to kind of get ready together and just have that morning together, which was really, really fun. I'm trying to figure out what's happening upstairs right now. I think that Scout might have the zoomies. I think he might have the late night zoomies. He's so restless in the evening. He totally has the zoomies. He's so restless in the evenings. It has honestly made it kind of hard to film, and Adam is like trying really, really hard to be helpful, but sometimes it's just like, okay, this isn't exactly working. At best, I'm having a hard time focusing. At worst, I know that you're hearing a lot of this background noise. Speaking of, I'm gonna take a quick break, and I'll be back once things are a little more settled. All right, I really am sorry, you guys. We're still trying to figure out how to best do things like balance filming in the evening and what Scout needs and stuff. So thanks for being patient. I promise it's not always going to be this disjointed. But yes, so anyway, wedding weekend, they had a really fun, very them ceremony at the little white chapel there, and then did a really beautiful hand fasting ceremony over at the Botanical Gardens at the Bellagio. And then we spent some time in Vegas, and they were all dressed up. We went out to a really, really nice dinner at Maggiano's. I don't remember what casino that one was connected to, but it was a really, really nice day. And I was so glad that we all got to celebrate together, with my parents there. Adam got to be there. And I think that Sean and Maddie just felt very, very, very loved. Now, they've been together for a really long time. I think like over 10 years at this point. And so really, I mean, Maddie's been family for a long time. Now it's just on paper. So it was a fun weekend. That was Friday morning that they actually got married, and we had lots of fun plans for the rest of Friday. We'd gotten in on Thursday and gotten to go out to dinner. We went to this place called the Golden Tiki, which was this little hole in the wall off the strip, and there was some hilariously wild imagery in like the women's restroom among other places. So if you've been there, I wonder if you know exactly what I'm talking about. But let's just say the handle for the doors, the stalls in the women's restroom, they were very anatomically correct. And it I was so unexpected. I just laughed out loud. And it was delightful. It felt like it was just only in Vegas, only in Vegas. The last time we were in Vegas was around 10 years ago. We actually went for our like last hurrah before we had our first kiddo. I was actually pregnant. It was our, I guess, baby moon was what, a lot of people call it. And it was fun, but I actually don't recommend it, especially when you're pregnant, just because even with like the best filters ever at the casinos on the strip and stuff, there's just like this constant odor of cigarette smoke. And now there's like the additional, does YouTube like censor for stuff like this? Like the green plant smoke is very pervasive there now too. It wasn't so much 10 years ago, so I don't think it was legal in Nevada at that point, but I'm very sensitive to smells, and I feel like that was just that much more exacerbated when I was pregnant. In retrospect, I was like, maybe we should do something else for our next baby moon. I don't think we even did a baby moon when I was pregnant with my youngest, which was fine, but yeah, so it had been 10 years, and I was curious to see how things had changed. Things were definitely more expensive, and I even noticed things like all the slot machines were really different. And this was what was weird, is I felt like, because we went to like a dozen different casinos just over the course of the long weekend, even going to Fremont Street on Sunday, and it was like they all had the same exact like kinds of slot machines, like down to the theme, and down to the name and everything. And I thought, I just remember there being so much more variety when we were here last, if I'm remembering correctly. And it felt like the odds were just like way worse than I remember from before too. I tend to go into it, if I'm gonna do any time at a casino, I treat it as though that's money I'm spending. It's not money I'm anticipating getting back. And if I happen to win and get anything back, like that's just a surprise bonus. But otherwise, I feel like for me, the most responsible way to go about spending any money at a casino is to just be like, I'm spending this money. I'm getting the entertainment of getting to play the slots out of it. But and no, I didn't come home with any winnings. Adam was up, and then he left on Saturday morning, and I don't even think we broke even. I think we came out like a little bit behind in the end. So but we had a good time. We did have the chance to go and see a Cirque show, which was really fun. And this all only happened because of my parents. My parents are the only reason that Adam and I were able to even go to this weekend. And so I'm just ridiculously thankful for them for making that possible, making that happen. I've been fortunate to see, this was my third Cirque show. We saw, I think O was the first Cirque show, maybe. I think it was the first one that Adam and I saw. And then we also saw Ka with my parents. And then this time we went and saw Mystère. Mystère is more of like a traditional circus act almost in a lot of ways. The acrobatics, like the things that some of these people were able to like contort their bodies into, and just like even like things they're able to do, like the aerialists and everything, my jaw was on the floor. It absolutely incredible. It was like, how is the human body capable of bending in these ways or doing these things? It was just amazing. But I really enjoyed some of the other Cirque shows that we'd seen because there was more of a storyline throughout. I think O is probably my favorite. But it was still, my gosh, so nice to get to go to another Cirque show and check that off my list. And it does seem like a lot of, like some of the Cirque shows and a lot of the buffets closed down after the happenings of 2020, which is unfortunate. I do wonder how many of the other changes are a reflection of that as well. But so yeah, I got to stay through till Sunday evening. There was a little brief moment of panic where I got a notification that my flight had been delayed, and then got another subsequent notification or two over the next couple hours about it being delayed further. And then I happened to open my Southwest app, and it had a little notification that was like, due to disruptions to your travel itinerary, you're eligible to do a flight change at zero cost, and here are these options. And I was actually able to fly out an hour earlier for a direct flight, and that was going to guarantee that like I'd get to see my kiddos before they went to bed, and that Adam would be able to come and pick me up at the airport. I wouldn't have to like spend on an Uber to get home or something, because it was right around the kiddos' bedtime. It was in the evening. It worked out great, and I still felt like I got a really full and wonderful day with family. So I think that Sean and Maddie are really happy with how the weekend went, and we all just have lots of really, I don't know, happy memories and feelings about how everything went. So yeah, it was a good weekend. My father-in-law was the one who was staying behind and watching the kids and the puppy, and poor guy, he's so sweet. He's amazing with my kids, and was so excited for time with the puppy. But unfortunately, there were some things that went a little bit awry that were outside of his control. For one, Micah kind of came down with this rash on Wednesday. Initially, I thought it was a contact, like a rash from like an allergic reaction, because I had put a shirt on him. It's a long story, but basically I had put a shirt on him that was new that I hadn't washed yet, and put it on him partway through the day, and the spots where the rash looked like it was like, oh, that's where the shirt pulled over his cheeks and was rubbing against his neck or whatever. And then over the course of the next like day and a half, like we left the next day on Thursday, and I had mentioned to the school what was going on and everything, but then I woke up on Friday morning to a call from the school saying his rash is getting worse, and it's spread down like his torso and arms, and so he's going to need to be picked up, and he can't come back until there's a doctor's note saying they know what the rash is and that he's okay to come back to school. Now, thankfully, I had told the school that I was going to be out of town, and here's my father-in-law's phone number. He's going to have the kids. So they had his number. They had called him. He'd come and picked Micah up. But that was like first thing Friday morning, and really, I think he was really expecting that he was going to have that day to do work, because he still does work, albeit from home on his computer, but still. And so, and Micah can, he can be a little bit of a lot and make it hard to do something like work. That on top of the puppy, who really is not at all 100% housebroken. Like he's doing well considering how he's only 3 months old, but I don't know if maybe Scout was acting out a little bit because we were gone, or reacting in some way. Maybe not acting out is maybe not the right term. Maybe just reacting to the fact that his usual people were gone, and the fact that Adam's dad doesn't necessarily know what our, I don't know, just sort of the routine and being in tune with the puppy looks like. And so the puppy had some accidents, and I just feel so bad. I have a feeling Adam's dad was really overwhelmed, but really wanted to make sure that he wasn't bothering us at all if he could help it. And it was all fine. Adam got back on Saturday morning and got to bail Adam's dad out, bail his dad out, but it was fine. Everything was fine. And the kids were really excited to get some time with, all the extra time with Grandpa. So, but yeah, never a dull moment. I did get Mike into the pediatrician on Monday. We had discussed if we wanted to take him into like an urgent care over the weekend, like for Adam to take him on Saturday when he got back. But ultimately, he didn't have any other symptoms, didn't seem to be bothered. And so there were no pediatric urgent cares that both took our insurance and had something less than like a 5-hour wait. I'm not exaggerating. So we thought, instead of taking him to just a standard urgent care and hoping that it will, work out okay when it's really not something that's an emergency, we'd much rather, let's just wait till Monday. If he's not bothered or whatever, we'll take him on Monday. Yes, he'll miss school, but it'll be all right. Then he can see a pediatrician and we can go from there. So as it turns out, the pediatrician thinks that it's actually it was caused probably by some kind of virus, but they're not at all concerned that it's contagious because he has 0 other symptoms. No fever, no coughing, runny nose, no nothing. It's just, they just said, and this is the thing, like sometimes viruses lead to rashes or inflammation, and it can just be absolutely nothing. So it has been getting better gradually. I had tried to give him, and it took me like half an hour to talk him through taking one chewable Benadryl that Wednesday, because his face was so red and almost like hives that day. But Micah just, I mean, my kids have special needs. I have been honest about that here on my channel and shared about what kind of the experience of walking through that is like. And while still very much trying to respect my kids' privacy and be really respectful about how I talk about them. But yeah, so Micah's autistic and has a lot of sensory sensitivities, and him taking medicine has always been a huge struggle. And we have tried a million different ways to, help him with that. And it's just not simple. It's really not simple at all. And we just haven't found an easy solution for this. But it took, half an hour of slowly getting him to take this one chewable Benadryl. And really, he would have needed to be taking it pretty regularly to probably see much of a difference with the rash. But his body is just kind of handling it gradually here on its own. But we went back to school today, had a great day at school, and yeah, so since last week's WIP and Chat, he has been back at his original school. I'm trying to think of how to refer to these schools. Like, obviously I'm not going to refer to them by name here on my channel, but I do want to somehow more easily differentiate between them. So basically, there was school A that Mike had been at, all school year so far. But then back in February, the school had approached us, the team at school A had approached us and said, he's made so much progress, he's doing so well, we feel like he's ready to graduate up from a mod severe class to a mild mod class, and it's going to be at this other school, which we were well familiar with, School B. School B is where Connor had gone for a couple of years for their mild mod program before moving into a gen ed class. It wasn't new to us. This process was not at all new to us. Unfortunately, and you are, I'm sure, well aware if you've been hanging out and listening to my WIP and Chats the past few months, that transition to School B has been extremely rocky, pretty much from the start. And what we thought was going to be a relatively short transition, because again, we've totally been down this road before with our kids shifting between programs, shifting between schools. We've done the song and dance a lot. Instead of it being just kind of this transition period, instead it was really just only getting worse, and we were hearing more about some of the extremes of how this was going. We were actually really upset and frustrated with the lack of detailed communication, as it turned out, from School B. And shortly before spring break, we had met to touch base with them again, and I just, after hearing some of the things they were sharing, we just said we want to move him back to School A. Like, he was like all of these behavior issues, some of the very real safety concerns that are happening here, the overall regression we've seen at home. We're like, these are not things we were seeing at all at School A. And we're like, we've tried this for 2.5 months, and I feel like it's not working right now. That's not to say maybe he won't be back at School B at some point, and at that point, I was pushing really, really hard and very strongly. I was coming down pretty hard to be like, we want him moved back ASAP. Like, by the end of last week, I was pushing very, very hard, and while trying to be respectful and understanding, but also going, I want him moved yesterday. So anyway, last week was his first week back at School A. And when I tell you that I cried tears of relief dropping him off, I'm really not trying to milk it. I'm not exaggerating. I was just so relieved. It felt like coming home. And this is a school that Connor goes to already. It's our homeschool. We can walk to it and stuff. And just walking back up to Micah's usual, like the teachers and staff, they were all completely prepared for him. And it's like, this sounds terrible to put it this way because the contrast is so stark from School B, but it was like they were just so happy to see him. And it had gotten to a point where I just felt like the people at school B, it's like they didn't even, like Micah was just a problem for them, is really what it felt like. And understandably in some ways, but also like that's just not the environment that he actually needs right now. Like it's just not. So the warmth, the welcome, Micah's joy at seeing, like I'm tearing up even thinking about it. His joy at seeing these familiar faces that he knows and loves, and going back into a school and a classroom that just works for him. I cannot really truly put into words what that meant, and just how big of a difference it made immediately made a difference. No, the specific issues that had come up have not disappeared, but they are significantly improved already, and he hasn't even been back in his class. Like today was his 5th day back at the school in class after taking into account his sick days. So, yeah, to say that I'm happy that we are back at school A is an understatement. I will be on cloud 9 for the foreseeable future over this. Like I'm not going to be over this for a long time. I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved. And so it's going well. It's not perfect, but it is going so much better. It's really going about as well as I could possibly dream and hope. So, and he's happy. He's so happy, you guys. So thank you for the kind words and encouragement. I really do appreciate it. And I have brought you along for this ride the past few months, and so I want to keep you updated about the good updates and the positive news here too. So anyway, just had to share that. Just yeah, yep. I kind of understand the idea better of advocating for your kids. I have had a tiny bit of baggage surrounding the idea of being an advocate for your kids because I feel like let me explain. When I hear people use that phrase, sometimes, for some people when I hear them use this phrase, it feels kind of adversarial to me. It feels like people are going into it wanting and expecting a fight. And I guess we've just been really fortunate that for the 99% of the time, the school teams that we've been working with, it hasn't had that dynamic at all. It's felt very collaborative. It's felt very we're on the same page, and like I don't know, there hasn't been that same need to like advocate. And now coming out of this situation, I've always like given a certain benefit of the doubt to be like, well, a parent is going to do whatever they need to make sure that they're being a voice for their child, and I'm not one to judge. But I always was hesitant to adopt that sort of label of like, I'm an advocate for my child, because I didn't want it to be like, I'm going into battle whenever I meet with my children's school teams. Like, I guess for me, it was a mentality thing, and that's a me problem. Because I 100% agree with like, yes, it is what we do. We're a voice for our children. We're an advocate for our children. But this situation has just put it in a different light for me, where it's like we didn't go into this looking for a fight, and we didn't really fight with the teams. It wasn't an antagonistic situation, but it did get to a point where it was like, if I'm not going to be on them about how we want this to happen and we need it to happen as quickly as possible, like if I'm not here really pushing things along, it's not going to happen as fast as it needs to happen. And so I don't know, I guess I just sort of understand it from a new perspective now in a way that I didn't before. I hope that makes sense, but yeah, I relate to that in a new way. And still have the utmost respect and admiration for people that work in schools and work in special ed. It's an extremely difficult job, and I'm very, very thankful to people for, the vast majority of people that go into that field, including the people that we did have to kind of come down a little hard on and give some strong feedback to about how we really needed things to look different if and when Micah does look at potentially trying one of these programs at School B again, but I don't see that happening in the near future whatsoever. That's going to be a ways out, and we're in no rush here. But anyway, so that's the Micah update. Connor is doing well. He is getting ready for state testing next week, and he's a little nervous about that. We've been talking him, through that a little bit, and he got to go on a field trip last week that he was really excited for. His whole class got to go, and he loved that a lot. And he's also just been doing a really wonderful job with the puppies. So yeah, brief puppy update. I honestly am not totally sure where I'm at on time because I've had to pause this a few times. So I'm just gonna go off of vibes and feeling at the moment. Connor's done a great job with helping with the puppy. Both kids really have, actually. Micah stepped up in a lot of ways and has gotten very, very comfortable with the puppy and doesn't have any of the anxiety and fear that we were a little nervous about him having. They've been doing great, and Scout, we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. I've heard the rule of threes mentioned a few different times about like 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. I don't remember exactly what each of them are. I think it's 3 days to decompress, 3 weeks to settle in, and 3 months to, something else. As far as like puppies or dogs adjusting. And I feel like we're really moving in the right direction. Nights are going a little bit more smoothly. We aren't having to sleep on the air mattress right next to the crate anymore, which is a huge step. And given that he's only been with us for 3 weeks as of the day of this WIP and Chat going up, it feels like that's really good progress, especially because he's still so young. He's only 3 months old. But I do want to work on some daytime crate training sooner than later. But we just really wanted to feel like nighttime crate training was pretty solid. And I noticed since I started this clip, I haven't heard anything from him, which is good. I think that he got those crazy zoomies out of his system, and now I'm guessing he's fast asleep at this point. Let me see. I'm gonna have to get creative. I think I'm gonna have to put like spillover. Maybe put like some of these colors into 2 of the smaller containers because I don't have. Oh, now I hear him whining. He heard me. Good grief. I don't want to keep using up big containers because I need to make sure I have enough space for all the colors in here as much as I can. All right, we'll get there. But overall, I feel like things are trending in the right direction with Scout, and we'll get through the puppy phase, and hopefully the Vegas trip wasn't too huge of a regression for him, and that my retreat that I'm going to at the end of the month hopefully isn't going to throw a big curveball in the mix either, though Adam at least will be home for that. I'm getting creative here with kind of how I'm fitting these colors in. This is what happens when I don't have quite enough of the container sizes that I need, but I want to make sure I can still fit everything in here that I want to. Okay, so that's the little pup date here. And Skip is loving it. They've been playing together a little bit. It's very, very cute and very silly. So yeah, it's, best case scenario in a lot of ways. And we're working through some of the other stuff in others. But I was noticing, I was like, the static doesn't seem so bad on some of these colors. There's some of these pinprick holes in the backs of a number of these bags. I noticed it in some of the others too. So I wonder if that's something that Diamond Art Club is incorporating into their process at this point. I don't know. But it's helping quite significantly. It's just the opportunity for them to like add some humidity back in, like moisture. I think, yeah, see, let's just pour it right out. So helps a ton. As far as what I have been reading and watching and listening to, I had every intention of starting a Brandon Sanderson book last week. I was all set to, and then just puppy things in the evening have kind of thrown a wrench in the mix, and so I haven't gotten there yet. But I did get into an interesting conversation with some friends earlier about whether you prefer to read first person or third person point of view. And I wonder how much of this is a little bit generational, because there's a slight age difference, some of us that were chatting, and it seemed like those of us that were a little bit older, I'm 36, I really prefer third person. And first person, it's like it really has to be done well. I very easily find it distracting. And given the option, I definitely prefer reading books that are written from third person point of view. And I'm curious where you would land on that if you are a reader. Audiobooks especially, it's like if it's not done well, I find first person point of view audiobooks to be incredibly distracting and hard to like actually get into. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting kind of conversation. As far as watching goes, I have been on a little bit of a Star Trek kick of my own. Adam and I haven't had the chance to watch any more episodes of Discovery, mostly because often one of us is taking the puppy up to bed or, trying to get work type things done. So we haven't gotten the chance to watch any more Discovery, but I just was kind of in the mood to pick back up with my Deep Space Nine rewatch. And it's like comfort food. Rewatching shows a lot of times is that for me. I love Deep Space Nine so much, and it's one of those things I feel like probably especially sort of with the state of the world, it's that much more kind of comfort food. So I'm somewhere in the middle of, I think, season 4, and it's like this is when it just is exceptionally good stuff. So love Deep Space Nine, older Trek, but still good stuff, still holds up. And then listening wise, I listened earlier today actually to an interesting episode of the Try Guys podcast, which I don't normally listen to at all, but it was referenced in a different video that I had been watching that was like a little tea recap. And so I went and I listened to the actual episode of that Try Guys podcast. And it was interesting because they were chatting a little bit about, it was a little bit of a retrospective on kind of the BuzzFeed era and how much of that is, I guess there's some nostalgia that's coming back for that, 10 years later, which is so interesting. Like Gen Z is finding some enjoyment from it, where it's like that was very much a media and BuzzFeed quizzes were such a popular thing with my generation, like the millennial generation, 10 years ago. And so it's funny how things tend to cycle back around. It's like the 90s are back, BuzzFeed's back. But it was interesting because I remember following a little bit of kind of the drama when that all went down, when they ended up, splitting and, kicking what's his face. I don't remember his name. And it was a whole thing. And I remember kind of just sort of following that with kind of morbid fascination. And it was interesting to hear a couple of them, coming together to chat about it and talk about like what it was like to work at BuzzFeed and stuff. So I don't know, that was kind of interesting, but nothing else super exciting that I've been listening to aside from a little bit of like Lady Gaga's new album and just thoroughly enjoying this kind of, again, I guess throwing it back to her roots too. I guess I'm feeling nostalgic. I'm enjoying it. So as far as what I have coming up this week, I did have a sneak peek for a midweek release go up yesterday or today, depending on when you're watching this video. And so that was for one of the new like Dazzle Pals, one of the little like 3D figures that Diamond Art Club's releasing. That was cute. And so that went up, and then I'll have a physical sneak peek from Diamond Art Club for later this week. I'm going to see if I can get together my Disney Princess kind of start to finish video on the Amazon Diamond Art Club series. I have all those clips, but it's just I haven't found the time to edit everything together and do everything I want to do with it, but that is definitely on my list to take care of sooner than later. I'd like to do that before the end of this month if I can. And then I might do a small shop haul. I haven't done one. I don't know if I did one at all in April, but I do have that little backlog of packages, a few of which I'd like to go ahead and get into. It's honestly, some packages go back to almost a year ago, so it'd be nice to open some of those up, maybe have some things to show for some small shop accessories that you could maybe do some shopping for. But I think that's really about it. Now, last week, I know that I didn't realize until a few hours after the video had been posted, a friend message was like, hey, just so you know, your WIP and Chat ended kind of abruptly. And I went back and listened. I was like, oh my gosh. When I uploaded it, it like chopped off the last 3 minutes. And it's like I didn't have my usual kind of like, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, give this emoji and, checking in with you guys and saying goodbye and everything in my outro. So I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I went back and listened to the end of it. I was like, oh my God, it's so abrupt. It was funny though, because it was shortly after I commented about like, oh, this is going a little bit longer than usual. But I have no idea what happened, but I'm going to double check that this week's goes up okay. And that said, if you made it all the way to the end, let's do, in honor of Dark Lilith, you guys, we have a sword emoji. I know because I used it in reference to this kit at one point. So how about the sword emoji? And if your emoji keyboard doesn't have the sword, then you could pick something else that just reminds you of this artwork. What are you on? Just to really close things out here. Sorry, you guys. Apparently need to get to some more sleep tonight. But thank you so much for watching today's WIP and Chat with me. I know I threw out a bunch of various questions throughout the video. I know I asked about if you prefer first or third person point of view when you're reading. Do you like to do just one WIP or have multiple WIPs? Have you ever bought a kit for a second time to do? And I don't know, there's probably something else in there. But I look forward to reading your comments below, and thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I invite you to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you here. You'll see these weekly WIP and Chats go up usually on Mondays. This is the exception. You'll also see unboxings and reviews from a variety of companies and various, diamond painting related videos like tutorials and accessories and whatnot. So I'd love to have you here, but I'm going to let you go. Either way, I hope you have a day and a week that's as amazing as you are and as excited as Scout's squeaky toy is. And I will chat with you again soon. Bye.